With the words of the common people's regal, they did not have to worry about their former enemies counterattacking because their strength had decreased greatly. Moreover, with the protection of the 4th Reserve Army Supreme Lord, common people's regal, the status of the three races might be even more stable than before, and if the common people's regal successfully eliminated the reserves of the other three Supreme Lords and successfully advanced to the only Supreme Lord, the status of the three races would increase unimaginably. It was at least equivalent to a supreme, god-level force, before they were demoted to a slave race by the common peoples. Regal, they were only a top-notch master god-tier faction. There was no hope of becoming a supreme god faction at all. He did not expect that after becoming a slave race, he would see hope of becoming a supreme god faction. The leaders of the three races looked at each other and saw a dreamy, an absent-minded look in each other's eyes. Then, Zhou Marshal casually instructed them to leave. After they left, Zhou Marshal directly opened the ultimate void battlefield function and teleported the 2 million newly recruited god spirits, 100,000 true god tiers, and 100 supremacy gods to Zhou Fight's side of the ultimate void battlefield to increase his strength. Then, he immediately led the army into the 10 master god tier advanced grade cosmic battleships. Then, through the Shadow World Warp Gate, he returned to the Blazing Sun Divine Capital. After returning to the Blazing Sun Divine Capital, Zhou Marshal got Feng Luo to lead the main combat army to continue expanding the territory of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. He immediately came to the Reincarnation Sacred Palace and woke up Zhou Zhou, who had just entered a cultivation state. Zhou Marshal? What happened? Didn't I say that it's just an ordinary matter? Let Zhou fight, and Zhou Zheng judge and deal with it? Don't disturb me easily. Zhou Zhou looked at Zhou Marshal and frowned slightly. When he didn't like to focus on his cultivation, someone suddenly came to disturb him. One of the reasons why he created so many clones was to get rid of these chores and focus on what he wanted to do, main body. I've just received 90°/0 of the assets of the 3 top bloodline races and most of the soldiers. And god spirits. Guess what I found out about those 90% assets? Zhou Marshal said mysteriously. What is it? Zhou Zhou asked curiously. He had yet to share Zhou Marshal's memories, so he did not know what Zhou Marshal had discovered. Zhou Marshal did not say a word. He extended his right hand and saw a seal formed by illusory lines appear in his hand. Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. He had seen this thing before. Treasure name. Illusionary legendary tier sage seal. Treasure grade. Unknown. Treasure effect. Unknown. Treasure description. Unknown. It's this fragment of the legendary tier illusionary sage seal again? As Zhou Zhou pondered, he flipped his right hand and saw another fragment of the illusionary legendary tier sacred seal in a different shape appear in front of him. The two looked like they were made of the same material, but their shapes were different. In the next second, the two illusionary legendary tier sage seals seemed to have sensed each other's existence and suddenly trembled violently. Then, the two of them turned into 2 streams of light that collided at the same time and quickly fused into one, turning into a larger fragment of the legendary tier sage seal. Zhou Zhou and Zhou Wu witnessed the entire scene. Even though they were a little surprised, they did not stop it. After they fused together, Zhou Zhou waved his right hand and saw the fragment of the illusionary legendary tier sacred seal land in his hand. He looked over. Treasure name. Illusionary legendary tier sage seal. 2/5. Treasure grade. Unknown treasure. Effect. Unknown. Treasure description. Unknown. I still can't unlock these unknown content. Zhou Zhou frowned slightly, but when he saw 2/5, his brows relaxed a lot. But at least I know that there are a total of 5 illusionary legendary tier sage seals. It's not a bad harvest. He muttered to himself as he played with the illusionary legendary tier sage seal in his hand. Then, he put away the fragment of the illusionary legendary tier sage seal. What exactly is this illusionary legendary tier sage seal? Zhou Marshal could not help but ask. I don't know what it is either, but I can feel it. There are only benefits and no disadvantages in leaving this in my hands. Trust our instincts. Besides, it's related to the items of the illusionist clan. Let's keep it in our hands and observe it. Perhaps I can find the weakness of the illusionist clan from this legendary tier's sacred seal one day. We'll go against the illusionist clan sooner or later after all. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. He understood, be it the Supreme Will or the Crimson Overlord. Their greatest enemy was not the ultimate void creature, but the illusionist clan that had already invaded the Yellow River that I in fact. The position of Supreme Lord might have been established by the Supreme Will to nurture candidates specially to deal with the illusionist clan. Therefore, he still valued this mysterious illusionary legendary tier sage seal. He had a faint premonition. After this incomplete legendary tier sacred seal was gathered, it would be extremely useful for he to deal with the enemies of the illusionist clan. I wonder where the other 3 illusionary legendary tier sage seal fragments are. Forget it. Let nature take its course. Zhou Zhou shook his head. Then, he thought of something and asked Zhou Wu, "Where did you find this incomplete illusionary legendary tier sage seal?" "I found it in the place where the heaven-cursed beast was sealed." Zhou Marshall was already prepared. Heaven-cursed beast? That's not surprising. Zhou Zhou shook his head. The conversation between the Supreme Will and the heaven-cursed beast appeared in his mind. The heaven-cursed beast came from the world of the illusionary race to begin with. This legendary tier sage seal might have been brought over by him from the world of the illusionary race. He has been hiding for so long without being discovered by the Supreme Will. Even though this heaven-cursed beast is only a master god tier, this method is powerful enough. Zhou Zhou thought at the same time. In the ultimate void battlefield, after a long journey, Zhou Fight and the others had already arrived at Kai's city. I didn't expect my speed in the ultimate void to still be so slow after obtaining the mythical tier 1 Lord talent. It should be because my law comprehension level is too low. Zhou Ten has just comprehended the ultimate void law. Now, he has only comprehended it to the level of a mid-tier deity level advanced grade. He's still far from acting wantonly on the ultimate void battlefield. Zhou Fight thought about it and could not help but shake his head. However, he didn't care too much. His law comprehension would increase sooner or later. It was as easy as drinking water for him to comprehend the Lord's law, let alone the ultimate void law that was more than a level lower than the Lord's law. Then, General Zhou's gaze landed on Kai's city in the distance. Kai's city was a very majestic city. It had all kinds of city defense facilities and emitted shocking nomological fluctuations. The strongest person here, Kai's, was only a grade 1 supreme god. However, with these city defense facilities, even a grade 3 supreme god realm might not be able to gain an advantage. Prepare to attack. After observing for a long time and confirming that there were no problems, Zhou Fight immediately gave the order. Yes. All the soldiers and god spirits answered in the communication channel. As the order was given, all the soldiers and god spirits silently flew out of the cosmic warship. Then, they lined up one by one and prepared their various long-range offensive law skills and spells. There was naturally no need to say anything about the Supreme Holy Mage God.AS top-notch long-range Supreme Soldier types. They were best at long-range attacks. A low-level Supreme Holy Mage God could even severely injure a true God-tier God Spirit with a Supreme Divine technique. This was the power of a top Supreme Soldier type, even though the Supreme God Realm soldiers were top-notch close combat. Supreme Soldier types, it did not mean that they were not good at long-range attacks, that on the contrary, they were also extremely good at long-range attacks. In terms of long-range attacks, they were not inferior to some of the last-ranked Supreme Soldier types. It was only because they were better at melee attacks that the brilliance of their long-range attacks was overshadowed. This moment, they had accumulated the majestic aura of long-range offensive law skills. They were not inferior to some gods who were good at long-range offensive law skills. Among the gods who were preparing to cast spells, the Forbidden Mage Master God, Su Yuan, was also among them. Moreover, he had already changed his profession to the Supreme Holy Mage God. This was a choice that he had taken the initiative to make. This was because he had long realized that he was already very lucky to be able to become a Master God tier with the help of him and the Goddess of Magic. Now that he had left the Goddess of Magic, it was completely impossible for he to rely on himself to advance further and even become a supreme god. This was because to become a supreme god, one had to be a Khanate regal. At the very least, he had to become a regal the day after tomorrow. However, he wasn't even a postnatal regal. He didn't even have the possibility of seeing the threshold of a supreme god.so. That was why he was willing to use the Supreme Holy Mage God class change certificate that Zhou Zhou had given him to change his class to the Supreme Holy Mage God, Supreme Soldier type. It represented a great Dao with the upper limit of a supreme god. Su Yuan felt that instead of risking his life to comprehend the supreme laws that were impossible to comprehend, it was better to use the ready-made great Dao. He had never felt that taking a shortcut was a mistake. The premise was that a shortcut was a shortcut in the right direction, not a shortcut that looked right, but actually led to a dead end. The path to becoming a supreme holy mage god was undoubtedly the correct path. Speaking of which, after the soldiers began to prepare for long-range attacks, in less than a few seconds, all the supreme soldier types, other soldiers, and soldiers and god spirits were already prepared for the first wave of attacks. Fire! Bai Yun shouted. In the next second, various colorful law skills and supreme divine techniques descended from the sky and shot straight into the city of Kai's city. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Continuous explosions sounded. A few seconds later, only 1% of the city buildings had been destroyed in the entire Kai city. The remaining city buildings were intact under the light of the city protection. However, the city protecting light also began to flicker because it had blocked too many attacks. When Zhou Fight saw this scene, he could not help but raise his eyebrows. The city defense of Kai City was at least of the highest level. Otherwise, he would not have been able to do this. Coincidentally, my Blazing Sun Divine Capital's defensive facilities can only defend against attacks at the Master God tier level. If we can take Kai City, we can change the defense facilities of Blazing Sun Divine Capital to the Supreme God level. Then my retreat will be more secure. Zhou Fight thought to himself. Then, he looked at Kai's city with a burning gaze. On the other side, when Bai Yun saw that her team's first wave of sneak attacks did not achieve much, she immediately prepared to launch the second wave of attacks. However, before they could finish their preparations, they saw a creature with a dark purple body and an illusory divine body fly out of Kai's city. It was Kai's city's city lord, Kai's. Interesting. How dare you attack us? Didn't you guys always carry out defensive strategies in the past? Why are you suddenly so bold? Could he know that he couldn't hold on any longer? So he took the initiative to come out and suffer death? Ha ha. Kai's laughed. When Zhou Fight saw this, he did not care if he would expose himself and flew out. He floated in the sky and looked down at Kai's. At the same time, he exuded the pressure of his Master God tier advance. Kai's expression darkened when he saw this. He coldly said, "A Master God dares to stand above a Supreme God. The God spirit of your Supreme Great Cosmos are really getting more and more ignorant of the rules." "You're wrong," Zhou Fight said calmly. "Only the final winner has the right to judge the rules. Now, this emperor hasn't fallen yet." Kai suddenly felt that something was wrong. The Lord of 10,000 Evils had never had such an arrogant and conceited subordinate. "Who are you?" Kai stared at Zhou Marshal and asked. "This emperor is the Supreme Lord's 4th Reserve Army. You can call this emperor Common People's Regal," Zhou Fight said calmly. Since he had already entered the stage of a head-on battle, he might as well say a few more words at the same time. He could make a name for himself in the ultimate void battleground. He did not come here to destroy this group of ultimate void creatures in silence. Destroying the ultimate void creatures was just a side event. Most importantly, he wanted to make a name for himself through this matter and prove his ability in front of the Supreme Will. Destroying the ultimate void creatures was just a side event. Most importantly, he wanted to make a name for himself through this matter and prove his ability in front of the Supreme Will. In addition, he was originally one with his main body. It was fine for him to say that he was the common people's regal and not the identity of his clone, the Supreme Lord's 4th Reserve Army. Kai's pondered for a while and suddenly laughed out loud. So the Supreme Will also knows that his 3rd reserve is a good-for-nothing, so he sent another helper. The Supreme Will is quite wise, isn't it? It knows how to cut its losses in time. But Kai's looked at Zhou fight with contempt. So what if it's a Supreme Lord Reserve army? I see that the army behind you is even inferior to the previous Third Reserve Army. You, the Fourth Reserve Army of the Supreme Lord, are not even a supreme god. Little doll. His eyes suddenly turned cold. What gave you the courage to stand in front of me? What courage does this emperor have? Zhou Marshal smiled faintly. You'll find out soon enough. His expression suddenly turned cold as he ordered, continue the offensive. Yes. Bai Yun immediately accepted the order. Then, he ordered all the soldiers and god spirits to immediately prepare and release the second round of long-range attacks. Humph. Kai's eyes turned cold. The layer of silver wing blades suddenly appeared on his wings. Immediately after, he flapped his wings, and countless silver flying blades flew out from his wings and flew straight towards the army of the blazing sun divine kingdom. There were more than 10,000 of these wing blades, and each of them had the power of a grade 1 supreme god. If they all landed in the army of the blazing sun divine kingdom, if the army of the blazing sun divine kingdom was not destroyed in time, they would still lose 10% to 20% of their soldiers and god spirits. This guy also has a supreme divine artifact. Zhou Fight's gaze landed on the wings on Kai's back, and he raised his brows slightly. However, he naturally wouldn't allow these wing blades to land on his army. He extended his right hand, and a small black bell appeared in front of him. Grade 3 Supreme Divine Artifact. Time Demonic Bell. Then, he injected an endless stream of chaotic sacred power into it. Under the activation of the chaotic sacred power, the time bell slowly swayed as it emitted visible time ripples in all directions. Under the influence of the time demon bell's time ripples, the casting speed of the army of the blazing sun divine kingdom suddenly increased by more than 10 times. In the blink of an eye, they had released 3 long-range attacks, just like how Kai's and Kai's city, where he was located. The 10,000 wing blades quickly entered the range of the time ripple. Under the influence of the time ripples, the tens of thousands of wing blades seemed to have been stopped by time and suddenly stopped. Moreover, the supreme god-level power added to them was also quickly consumed under the mighty power of time that in less than a second. The 10,000 wing blades had actually collapsed and dissipated because they had exhausted the supreme divine power inside .as for Kai's city. Due to the continuous joint attack of the spread of the army, not only did it lose about 3 to 4% of its internal buildings, but even the ultimate void soldiers and creatures inside were injured or dead. Kai's, who had witnessed the entire process, had a gloomy expression. He never expected that to happen. He was fighting with a master god, and the one who was at a disadvantage in the end was actually him, a supreme god. It was simply a rebellion against the Heavenly Dipper. Even though the supreme divine artifact in the other party's hand and his ability to use the supreme divine artifact above his level was an important reason why he could gain the upper hand. However, he still felt embarrassed. Good. Very good. Kai's gritted his teeth. He was prepared to take action personally and deal with the 4th Reserve Army of the Supreme Lord first. With his strength as a grade 1 supreme god and the support of the army in Kai's city, killing this common people's regal was a simple matter among a group of enemies who were no higher than Master God tier. This way, he would be able to resolve this war as quickly as possible and redeem his lost face. However, in the next second, he realized that Zhou Fight had done something strange. Son of Destiny, activate. The Lord Talent notification appeared. Prompt. You have activated your supreme unique Lord Talent, Son of Destiny. You have been blessed by the heavens. 50% of the enemies in the enemy Lord's faction have been summoned by the heavens and have become your loyal subordinates. Lord Talent Notification 1. A total of 1,208,739,887 low-tier deity level ultimate void god spirits. 553,429,893 mid-tier deity level ultimate void god spirits. 287,332,323 high-tier deity level ultimate void god spirits. 2,388,734 Ultimate Void True God Tiers, 512 Ultimate Void Master God Tiers, and 1 Grade 1 Ultimate Void Supreme God left their organizations and became your destiny follower. In the next second before Kai's could react, Kai's city, which was behind him, suddenly had a huge uprising. Ultimate Void God Spirits, True God Tiers, and even Master God Tiers started a massacre in Kai's city. In their eyes, their former comrades and friends seemed to have become enemies that would not rest until they died. They did not hold back in their every attack. In less than a moment, they had caused huge casualties in Kai's city. Countless screams rang out, stunning Kai's. He was even at a loss. What was going on? Because the Supreme Will guarded the Ultimate Void creatures tightly. Even if the Ultimate Void creatures were good at gathering information, they could not gather any internal information of the Supreme Great Cosmos. Therefore, they did not understand the methods of this common people's regal at all. That if they understood Zhou Fight's methods, they might have taken precautions long ago. However, they did not understand and did not take precautions, resulting in this irreversible outcome. Soon, Kai's finally came back to his senses. Stop it. Do you know what you're doing? Mashus. Praman. Amaze, you're killing our people. No matter how magnanimous Kai's was, after seeing the internal strife in front of him, his defense was finally broken, especially the Ultimate Void generals that he had shouted. Not only were they existences who had hopes of becoming supreme gods in the future, but they were also his capable subordinates and true confidants. However, at this moment, it was as if they did not know him. They were all releasing their void divine power to their heart's content and slaughtering their own people. D***. It must be that guy's strange method. Kai's suddenly turned to look at Zhou Fight, his eyes filled with anger. Even though this Supreme Lord Reserve Army was far inferior to that Lord of 10,000 Evils in terms of strength, at this moment, not only did he possess a rare, supreme divine artifact, but he also possessed such a strange nomological technique. There was no time to think. He couldn't care less about continuing to deal with Zhou Fight and his army. He instantly disappeared from his original spot. In the next moment, he had already arrived in Kai's city and appeared in front of an Ultimate Void Master God tier who was slaughtering the Ultimate Void God spirits. Praman, wake up! With a flap of his wings, Kai sent the other party flying a light year away, severely injuring him and rendering him immobile. However, when Kai's went over to detain the other party, a giant Ultimate Void God spirit with a dark purple body and a huge body that looked like a Jurassic dinosaur appeared in front of Kai's. Savas, you're here. Kai's heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the other party appear. Then, he said in shame, I'm sorry to have let you see this embarrassing scene. Initially, I invited you over to have fun with you. I didn't expect to encounter such a thing. Forget it, there's no time to talk. Savas, help me suppress this internal strife. After this internal strife is over, I owe you a favor. Kai's wanted to bypass him and detain Praman with that. However, in the next second, Savas stood in front of him with a calm expression, blocking his path. What are you doing? Kai's was stunned. Then, he looked at the other parties. Calm, deep, and unfamiliar face and suddenly thought of something. He said in disbelief and with an ugly expression, Don't tell me you, Kai's. Savas suddenly spoke. He looked at Kai's calmly. Surrender. I'm a grade 2 Supreme God, and you're only a grade 1 Supreme God. You're not my match, much less my lord's. Your master? Isn't our master the great Void Emperor? Kai's looked at Savas and said, Void Emperor? That's just a guy who knows how to run. My lord, it's the great Your Excellency Common People's Regal. Savas raised his head proudly. Kai's expression turned ugly when he heard this. Even you, he said in disbelief. Then, his expression suddenly calmed down. He turned to look at Zhou Fight. 4th Reserve Army of the Supreme Lord. Is this how you dare to stand in front of me? You're indeed extraordinary. Your lord's nomological path must be an extremely high-ranked lord's nomological path, or even a powerful lord's nomological path that has never been discovered. Right, Kai said coldly. Yes or no has no meaning to you unless you choose to surrender to this emperor or die under the hands of this colleague of yours." Zhou Fight said calmly. He was actually very surprised. He actually did not have much hope that his son of destiny would be able to incite defection to become a supreme god-level ultimate void god spirit before he came. This was because according to the principle of the son of destiny's incite defection, it was mostly unable to instigate the leader of the enemy faction. Kai's was the highest leader of Kai's city. So Zhou Fight did not have much hope for incite defection Kai's. His original idea was that even if he couldn't instigate the incite defection to Kai's, he could at least instigate 50% of his subordinates. This way, he could at least increase his chances of winning. And then, I'll deal with Kai's myself. Kai's was only a grade 1 supreme god. He realized that the suppression on his combat strength had disappeared after he obtained the mythical tier unique lord talent, the ultimate void battlefield. Under the circumstance that he could unleash his full combat strength, coupled with the help of a set of supreme divine artifacts, it was completely possible for him to kill such a grade 1 supreme god. That was why he had the confidence to accept this mission and find trouble with Kai's. However, he never expected this. While he did not incite Kai's, he actually incited another supreme god. Moreover, it was a supreme god who was even more powerful. Furthermore, from the information Savis had sent to him, he had only agreed to Kai's request on a whim today. That was why he had suddenly come to his place to have fun with him. He had never expected that Zhou Fight would suddenly lead an army to attack him. He had never expected that an outsider like him would become the target of incite defection. That it could only be said that everything was the result of a freak combination of factors. Zhou Fight smirked at the thought of this. I've been lucky today. I can't believe I can even incite an incite defection supreme god. Before I came, I thought Kai's was the only supreme god in Kai's city. When he thought of this, he was suddenly taken aback. Then he fell into deep thought. Lucky? Could the titles and lord talents that were enhanced by my luck be working? Thinking of this, Zhou Fight could not help but smile. Unexpectedly, luck was an illusory thing that could not be seen or touched usually. When it was really needed, it would really go for it. If that's the case, I'll give you another one. Zhou Fight smiled and pointed at Kai's city and Kai's from afar. He activated Heavenly Fate Di Huang's ability to extract the enemy's good luck, leaving only bad luck at the same time. Kai's did not respond to Zhou Fight's words. Instead, he turned around and looked straight at Savis. Savis, I'll ask you again. Are you really going to stop me? He asked in a deep voice. Stop you? No, I should take you down or kill you. Savis smiled. Asa great. One supreme god. He had the right to say such words in front of the grade 1 supreme god Kai's. You made me do it. Kai's took a deep breath and said softly. Then, he took out a drop of blood that emitted a faint silver light from his void creature bag. This blood emitted a shocking pressure as soon as it was taken out by a grade 2 supreme god. Savis' divine body actually began to crumble in the face of this pressure. The true blood of the Void Emperor? You were actually bestowed with such a divine item by the Void Emperor. Savis immediately recognized the drop of silver blood and said in horror, This isn't a reward for me, but for our heavenly winged mantis clan's patriarch. The patriarch saw that I was stationed in the nearest war zone to Lord of 10,000 Evil's base, so he gave it to me. Kai's looked at the drop of silver blood with blurry eyes. I thought I would never use it in my life. I didn't expect to be forced to use it by a reserve supreme lord who's not even a supreme god. His expression instantly turned firm as he said in a deep voice, After I kill you, I'll immediately report to Your Excellency the Void Emperor and tell Your Excellency about the existence of the 4th Reserve Army of the Supreme Lord and his methods. At that time, with Your Excellency's methods, the great common people's regal that you think is worthy of being an ant that Your Excellency casually crushed and killed. With that, Kai's raised his head and swallowed the drop of blood into his body. Almost instantly, his aura began to increase rapidly. Grade 2 Supreme God Realm. Grade 3 Supreme God Realm. Grade 4 Supreme God Realm. In less than 10 seconds, Kai's had advanced from a Grade 1 Supreme God to a Grade 4 Supreme God. Furthermore, His divine body had turned completely dark silver, and its form was somewhat similar to the legendary Void Emperor. Even the pressure he emitted was enough to make any ultimate void creature feel fear from the depths of their blood. All of this was naturally affected by the drop of true blood, and seeing how powerful Kai's had become, even though he was filled with fear, he didn't have any thoughts of retreating. Under the influence of the Son of Destiny, his basic loyalty had already reached 99, infinitely close to the level of a fanatic believer. He was naturally unwilling to escape from his opponent out of fear without receiving the Lord's orders. Not only would that violate the Lord's orders, but it would also make he feel that he had suffered humiliation because of his cowardice. Traitor, aren't you going to run? Kais looked at Savas with a faint smile. For the great common people's regal, Your Excellency, I will never run away. Savas said firmly, even though he was afraid. When Kai saw this, the smile on his face gradually disappeared, and his expression gradually became serious. He didn't expect the methods of the common people's regal to be so strange. Not only could he make his people submit to him in an instant, he could also turn him into subordinates comparable to fanatic believers. This ability was simply too terrifying. This Supreme Lord's Reserve Army must not be left alive. Otherwise, he would definitely become a huge threat to their ultimate Void clan in the future. At the thought of this, he did not waste any more time. He was prepared to kill Savas immediately before returning to the Void Emperor's side to report that AS for relying on his own strength to forcefully kill common people's regal. He thought for a moment and gave up on this idea. This was because his premonition as a grade 4 supreme god told him that even if he had temporarily obtained the strength of a 4th grade supreme god, there was a high chance that he would not succeed in destroying that common people's regal. Even though he found this premonition somewhat unbelievable, he chose to believe in his intuition. Die, Savas. Kais teleported in front of Savas. Kais flapped the wings on his back and was about to kill Savas, who could no longer move. Suddenly, cluck, cluck, cluck. A look of disbelief appeared in Kai's eyes. Then, he spat out a large mouthful of dark purple bodily fluid to in the next moment. Savas sensed that Kai's strength was falling at an even faster speed. Grade 3 Supreme God Realm. Grade 2 Supreme God. Grade 1 Supreme God. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. This ultimate Void God Spirit, who had just possessed the strength of a top-notch Grade 4 Supreme God, actually fell to the Master God Tier level in an instant. He could not even maintain his original strength. How is that possible? Kai said in disbelief as he felt his weakened body. Using the Void Emperor's true blood to forcefully increase his strength would indeed have a certain backlash in the future. How long had it been since he consumed the Void Emperor's true blood? He hadn't even attacked once, and the use of true blood had already expired? A guess suddenly appeared in his mind. His compatibility with the Void Emperor's true blood was extremely low. Only this guess could explain why. The effects of the true blood had disappeared not long after he had consumed it, and why he had suffered such a serious backlash. Is my luck that bad? Kais was in despair. A Grade 1 Supreme God of the ultimate Void race. He had never expected he to have such a low compatibility with the true blood of the Void Emperor, but that was the truth. He had no choice but to accept. Reality.as for Savas. He couldn't help but be stunned in the beginning when he faced Kais, whose strength had greatly decreased. But soon, he began to mock him. You actually have such a low compatibility with the Void Emperor's true blood? Haha, this is how your life should be today. Kai snorted but didn't say anything. Savas sneered and asked again. Kais, the situation is clear. I'll ask you again, are you willing to surrender to my master? I, a supreme god, surrender to a master god tier like him? Kais laughed out loud as if he had heard a huge joke. Then, he said coldly, say no more. Just kill me. Savas looked at Zhou Fight. Zhou Fight nodded from afar. You asked for it. Savas shook his head. Then, he drew the void axe on his back and chopped off Kais's head. Then, he used the void divine power to destroy his divine spark. Only then did he die. The same time Kais died. A line of text appeared in front of Zhou Fight. Ultimate Void Battlefield Mission Tips. Your subjects have killed the Lord of Kais City, Kais, first level Supreme God, and you have received 1 million military merit points and 1 Supreme God level mission medal. Zhou Fight smiled faintly. Next, we only need to occupy the entire Kais City and this mission will be completed. He muttered to himself. He looked at the battlefield in front of him that at this moment, the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom was using long-range attacks to continuously attack Kais City at the same time. The ultimate Void God spirits in Kais City, who had been instigated by Zhou Fight's insight defection, were also fighting inside. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that on this battlefield, his army already had an absolute advantage. It was only a matter of time before he took Kais City. Next, as long as he broke through Kais City's defenses, he would be able to completely take over Kais City at this moment. Savas flew to Zhou Fight with Kai's corpse. "My lord," Savas said respectfully. "You can just call me your majesty," Zhou Fight said calmly. "Yes, your majesty." Savas grabbed Kai's corpse and offered it to Zhou Fight. He said fervently, "Your majesty, this is Kai's corpse. I would like to offer it to you." "Yes, I'll count it as your contribution. Leave the corpses behind. Go and break through the defense of Kai's city," Zhou Fight said. "Yes, your majesty." Savas nodded and turned to look at Kai's city with a sinister smile. If Kai's was still around, and he was in charge of Kai's city's defense facilities, he would never dare to break through his defenses because it was impossible, even though Kai's was only a Grade 1 Supreme God. With Kai's city's Supreme God-level defense facilities, a Grade 4 Supreme God could not easily break through Kai's city. However, not only had Kai's fallen, even the interior of Kai's city had fallen into internal strife, leaving Kai's city with less than 10% of its defensive strength. Under such circumstances, Savas was very confident that he could break through Kai's city's defense alone. "This is the first order His Majesty has given me. It has to be done perfectly." Savas stroked his Grade 2 Supreme God Divine artifact with a solemn expression. In the next second, he flew straight to Kai's city. The 10 ultimate Void Master God tiers, who were overseeing the defense of Kai's city, hurriedly focused on defending against this Supreme God when they saw Savas rushing over. They had all seen it just now that it was this city lord's good friend who personally beheaded him. Naturally, they would not regard the other party as an ally. At this moment, Savas, who had already arrived in Kai's city, slashed his first, second, third, fourth in the blink of an eye. He slashed out 16 times in a row, and each strike was an all-out offensive. 16 slashes later, the most important Supreme God-level defensive light shield in Kai's city was directly broken by Savas. At this moment, Kai's city was like a beautiful little girl who had lost the means to protect herself. Facing the greedy gazes of outsiders, she had no means to protect herself at all. Savas laughed loudly and rushed in. Together with the Insight Defection Army, he killed the ultimate Void God spirits who had not been incited. 3 hours later, all the ultimate Void God spirits that had not been incited by Insight Defection were all killed, turning into a massive amount of promotion energy that increased the strength of all the God spirits of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Kai's city was also completely occupied by Zhou Fight. At the same time, Demon Lord Base Planet, the Lord of 10,000 Evils, was in his sacred hall, thinking about how to get along with this new Supreme Lord's 4th Reserve Army in the future. The ultimate Void race was extremely difficult to deal with. Lord of 10,000 Evils felt that there was a high chance that the two of them would spend a long time together in the future. They might even have to support each other. Since that was the case, it was best to befriend the other party. But how should he befriend them? How should he befriend them? Who was in charge of the two? How should he strive for dominance? All sorts of problems were things that he had to think about. At this moment, an ultimate evil spirit instantly appeared below the hall. "Your Majesty, there's the latest news from that Common People's Regal." "What news? Did Common People's Regal finally choose to retreat after losing to Kai's? Hurry up and welcome them. Pay attention to your attitude. Don't let them think that we're here to watch them make a fool of themselves," the Lord of 10,000 Evils casually instructed. The Master God tier level ultimate evil spirit fell silent for a second before saying with difficulty, Your Majesty. The Fourth Reserve Army of the Supreme Lord has successfully breached Kai's city, killed City Lord Kai's, and inside surrendered another Level 2 Ultimate Void Supreme God, Savas. Capture Kai's city, the Lord of 10,000 Evils. Nodded. Then, he suddenly reacted and stood up from his throne, staring at the other party. What did you say? The Supreme Lord's Fourth Reserve Army has already breached Kai's city and killed the Grade 1 Supreme God, Kai's. He also made the other Grade 2 Ultimate Void Supreme God surrender. The Ultimate Evil Spirit Master God tier explained. Succinctly again, the Lord of 10,000 Evils was stunned. How did he do it? He uttered in disbelief after a long time in silence. Your Majesty, please take a look. The Ultimate Evil Spirit took out a crystal ball and injected divine power into it. Then, an illusory projection appeared in front of Lord of 10,000 Evils. The illusory projection showed the entire process of the Divine Kingdom's army attacking Kai's city, then Kai's dying in battle, and finally, Kai's city being completely occupied by the Zhou fight. When Lord of 10,000 Evils saw the internal strife in Kai's city, he couldn't help but open his mouth wide. His eyes immediately widened in shock when he saw Kai's confronting Savas and being beheaded by him. And he was completely silent when he saw that Kai's city was completely occupied. The ultimate evil spirit master god did not speak either. In fact, he still couldn't believe that what he saw was true until now. However, everything he had recorded was like ironclad evidence that what he had seen was not fake. But how could this Supreme Lord's Fourth Reserve Army be so strong? With just a raise of their hands, they had changed the situation on the battlefield, making the situation that they should not have been able to defeat become an absolute advantage in the blink of an eye. They had even recruited a Level 2 Ultimate Void Supreme God. They did not even dare to think about such a situation in the past. However, they felt like they were dreaming now that it had really happened in front of them. The Supreme will ask this Lord Fourth Reserve to come over because it really thinks that he can help us resist the Ultimate Void race. Perhaps we can really defeat the Ultimate Void race and leave this place forever with the help of this Lord. The Ultimate Evil Spirit began to let its imagination run wild. What to do? Zhou Fight's actions of capturing Kai's city in a short period of time had really shocked him too much. The Lord of 10,000 Evils had similar thoughts. He had a complicated expression. Of course, they knew about this Kai's city. In fact, because this city was very close to the planet where the Demon Lord's base was, they had fought dozens of times openly and covertly. However, because of the powerful defense facilities of Kai's city, even if Lord of 10,000 Evils was already a Grade 3 Supreme God realm, he could not break through the defense of Kai's city, let alone kill Kai's and completely occupy it. And now, this matter was actually done by this new Supreme Lord Reserve Army who had just come from the Great Cosmos. Thinking about how he had previously thought that the other party was bragging, no matter how much Lord of 10,000 Evils had experienced, he could not help but blush. What is the common people's regal doing now? The Lord of 10,000 Evils came back to his senses and immediately asked, that Lord is currently reorganizing Kai's city. He should be back when he is done. The ultimate evil spirit master god tier said. The Lord of 10,000 Evils nodded and thought for a moment before saying, prepare a banquet and invite the god spirits of the various races to attend to celebrate the first great victory the common people's regal has brought us in the past 1,000 years. Also, send out an all-god announcement to the battle channel of the myriad races to inform them of the results of the god spirits and common people's regal. Yes, Your Majesty. The ultimate evil spirit master god tier said respectfully. Then, he wanted to say something, but in the end, he didn't say anything and left to do something. The Lord of 10,000 Evils fell silent for a while after the other party left. Then, he could not help but open the photo orb again and carefully examine the entire process of Zhou fight attacking Kai's city. He turned off the image pearl and said with a complicated tone after he looked at it 5 or 6 times. What an astonishing method. No wonder they were able to capture Kai's city the moment they arrived. If his lord's nomological path was comprehended by himself, his future would be limitless. Maybe even the Supreme Lord. He fell silent for a moment before shaking his head. He felt that he couldn't come to a conclusion too early. This newly advanced Supreme Lord's Fourth Reserve Army had shocking Lord Law methods. However, those two Supreme Lord Reserves were not easy to deal with either, if the three were to compare. He still felt that the common people's regal did not have any advantage. He had only grown up for a short time after all. If he had grown up for a longer time, he might really be able to compete with the other two Supreme Lord Reserve armies, but the same time in the main hall in the Kai City, which was very far away from the Demon Lord's base planet. Zhou Fight sat on the throne that Kai's had once sat on and looked at the text notification in front of him. Ultimate Void Battlefield Mission Hint 1. You have completely captured Kai City. You have obtained 1 million military credits. Ultimate Void Battlefield Mission Hint 2. Congratulations. You have completely completed the Grade 1 Supreme God mission, conquering the Grade 1 Supreme God War Territory, Kai's City. Zhou Fight smiled and turned off the mission notification to wait this moment. He suddenly felt something and opened the battle channel of all races.in, the friend list of the 10,000 races battle channel. A message from Lord of 10,000 Evils and more than 9,999 friend requests were constantly flashing. Zhou Fight was stunned. Then, he opened the message from Lord of 10,000 Evils. Lord of 10,000 Evils. Brother Common People's Regal, you have good methods. You actually broke through Kai City so quickly. I really didn't expect this. Impressive. Impressive. The corners of Zhou Fight's mouth twitched when he saw this. Since when did you address me OS, brother? Now that you know that I've captured Kai City, you're calling me Brother Common People's Regal? Smart. He typed a reply. Common People's Regal. I was lucky. I originally thought that it wouldn't be so simple. I didn't expect that it would cause me to instigate insight defection to become a supreme god, which allowed this battle to end so quickly. I even planned to personally kill Kai's and occupy Kai's city. Lord of 10,000 Evils. It's easy to say, but it's still very dangerous, right? Speaking of which, I've wanted to settle in this Kai City for a long time, but I haven't had the time. This time, I have to thank Brother Common People's Regal. When you come back, we'll have a good drink. Common People's Regal. Okay. Lord of 10,000 Evils. By the way, brother, you can watch the battle channel of the myriad races. Zhou Fight was a little curious when he saw this. Then, he opened the All Races Combat channel. Then, he saw a huge red announcement standing at the top of the All Races Combat channel. All God announcement. Congratulations to our Supreme Lord of 10,000 Evils. As the leader of the Supreme will camp in the ultimate void battlefield. I will take out 5 million military merits and 2 Supreme God mission medals as rewards. Zhou Fight was stunned after reading it. Then, he shook his head and laughed. He did not expect this Lord of 10,000 Evils to suddenly do this. This was really surprising. However, it was not bad at the very least. It proved that this Lord of 10,000 Evils did not have any hostility towards him on the surface. Otherwise, there was no need for him to do these things to increase the enemy's strength. 5 million military merits and 2 Supreme God mission medals were already very good rewards. It was even enough to exchange for some good racial divine artifacts in the Supreme God Realm Monument. At this moment, when the God spirits in the battle channel saw this all-God announcement, they immediately stirred. Did I hear wrongly? Kai's city was breached by the Supreme Lord's 4th Reserve Army. Kai's city has Supreme God-level defense facilities. Under Kai's control, even a Grade 4 Supreme God can't break through Kai's city. How did the common people's regal break through? I'm shocked. I've followed Lord of 10,000 Evils to attack Kai's city together in the past, but I've always returned empty-handed. Many God spirits even died, and more than 100 Master God tier died. Wasn't the common people's regal just promoted to the Supreme Lord Reserve Army not long ago? He doesn't even have a Supreme God-level expert under him, right? How did he attack Kai's city? I didn't expect the common people's regal to not only make a name for himself in the Supreme Great Cosmos, but he can also become famous even in the ultimate void battlefield where God spirits are gathered, as expected of the latest Supreme Lord Reserve Army selected by the Supreme Will. Extraordinary indeed. The common people's regal is here. The God spirits of the Supreme will camp in our ultimate void battlefield are going to have a better life. Roar. The god spirits in the battle channel discussed. There was no lack of god spirits who had already heard of the reputation of the common people's regal in the supreme great cosmos. They did not expect that this lord of the myriad races who had just risen would still be able to contribute greatly in the ancient battlefield of the ultimate void battlefield. This also made them completely convinced as expected of your excellency, common people's regal. You're the most outstanding and outstanding no matter where you go. After Zhou Fight saw these guys' comments, he smiled and did not say anything. He only thanked Lord of 10,000 Evils for the reward in a private chat. Lord of 10,000 Evils was very polite, indicating that he deserved all of this. The two of them exchanged a few pleasantries and did not like to talk much. This Lord of 10,000 Evils has such a scary title. I didn't expect him to be so easy to communicate with. Zhou Fight was amazed out of course. It was also possible that he had seen hope of defeating the ultimate void creature through his battle results, which was why he was so polite. If not for this, Lord of 10,000 Evils' attitude might not have been so good at this moment. Savis teleported into the main hall and said respectfully to Zhou Fight, "Your Majesty, the core of Kai's city's base star core has been found. Lead the way." Zhou Fight said, "Yes, Your Majesty. Please follow me." Savis and Zhou Zhou disappeared from the main hall almost at the same time. In another dignified and mysterious hall that a dark purple ball of light floated in the middle of the hall. Rows of ultimate void race words floated around the dark purple ball of light, making it even more mysterious and ancient at this moment. Savis and Zhou Zhou appeared in front of the dark purple ball of light. "Your Majesty, this is the core of Kai's city's void base. It can cover and affect the battlefield territory within a radius of 50 million light-years. This base star core was originally personally created by the Supreme Will and used to manage and protect the ultimate void battlefield. Later on, because the ultimate void race was powerful, Lord of 10,000 Evils lost the battlefield territory of the ultimate void battlefield repeatedly. This base star core finally fell into the hands of the ultimate void race. Through the method of void pollution, it became a treasure for the ultimate void race to manage the territory of the ultimate void battlefield." Savis said respectfully. Zhou Fight nodded. Then, he walked in front of the contaminated base star core. He looked at the base star core. A text notification appeared. Base name: Kai's City, Grade 1 Supreme God Base. Treasure name: Void Base Star Core, Polluted. Treasure: Grade 1 Supreme God. Treasure effect: after determining the location of the base, it can become the core of the base. With the base star core as the center, it can create any kind of base and add any buildings. At the same time, it can monitor all life forms within a radius of 50 million light-years. Note 1. This base star core is a polluted void base star core. You can purify it with 1 million military credits and restore it to its original appearance and effect. Note 2. If you fuse 3 Grade 1 Supreme God Base Star Cores or Void Base Star Cores, you can evolve them into Grade 2 Supreme God Base Star Cores or Grade 2 Supreme God Void Base Star Cores. Prompt: do you want to purify and occupy it? A smile appeared on Zhou Fight's face after reading it. As expected, this base star core was the same as the territory order on the High Continent. They could both be occupied and become their territory. And the price was only 1 million points. It was far cheaper than exchanging for it in the Supreme God Realm Monument. Purify and occupy, Zhou Fight said without hesitation. In the next second, a text notification appeared. In the process of purification, Zhou Fight looked at the base star core. The base star core that was emitting a dark purple light suddenly seemed to be boiling like hot water. The light on the surface kept rising, and the dark purple light was forced out bit by bit and dissipated in the void. A moment later, after all the dark purple light dissipated, they saw that the original dark purple base star core had already turned into a white ball of light that emitted a pure white and gentle light. A text notification appeared. Congratulations, you have successfully occupied Kai's City, Grade 1 Supreme God Level War Base, and purified the Void Base Star Core. Please name your war base and choose the form of your base. A bunch of options appeared in front of Zhou Fight as soon as he finished speaking. There were megacities, planets, continents, secret realms, islands, black holes. There were all kinds of forms. After some thought, Zhou Fight replied. The war base is called Blazing Sun Base Planet No. 1. The base form also chooses the planet. Even though Zhou Fight had been in the high continent for a long time, he was still used to living on a planet, so he chose the form of a planet. Change completed. Zhou Fight looked over. Base name, Blazing Sun Base Planet No. 1. Grade 1 Supreme God Base. Treasure name, Supreme Base Star Core. Treasure grade, Grade 1 Supreme God. Treasure effect. After determining the location of the base, it can become the core of the base. With the base star core as the center, it can create any kind of base and add any buildings. At the same time, it can monitor all life forms within a radius of 50 million light-years. Note 2. If you fuse 3 Grade 1 Supreme God-based star cores or void-based star cores, you can evolve them into Grade 2 Supreme God-based star cores or Grade 2 Supreme God Void-based star cores. Zhou Fight nodded in satisfaction after reading it. This can be considered my first base in the ultimate void battleground. It feels like it's my first time exploring. Zhou Fight chuckled. He walked out of the temple and realized that the place he was at had unknowingly become a base planet. Even though this base planet was not as big as the Demon Lord's base planet, it was still the size of thousands of boundless universes combined out on the surface of this base planet. There were all kinds of basic building facilities, including the Divine Artifact Forging Hall, Cultivation Hall, Meditation Room, Enlightenment Room, Time Acceleration Array, Healing Room, Teleportation Array. There were all kinds of construction facilities, especially for god spirits. Zhou Fight was very satisfied after reading it. This saved him the need to rebuild this place. It saved him a large sum of money and time. It also allowed him to focus on dealing with the ultimate void race. Then, with a thought, he opened his military merit panel. User, Lord of the Blazing Sun, Supreme Lord's 4th Reserve Army, Ultimate Void Battlefield 2nd Leader of the Supreme Will Camp. Military merits, 6 million points mission medal, 3 Supreme mission medals, 6 million military merits, and 3 Supreme mission medals. It's enough for me to exchange for some good things. Especially that treasure, Zhou Fight said to himself, with a smile. As for the ultimate void battlefield, 2nd leader of the Supreme Will Camp, that it introduced, Zhou Fight was not surprised. The first leader was naturally the veteran Supreme Lord Reserve. Lord of 10,000 Evils. As for the second leader, it was he, the last Supreme Lord's 4th Reserve Army. He had a high status even though his strength was average. It was naturally not a problem for him to have the status of a leader. Savis, Yuan Tsong, stay here and guard Blazing Sun Base Planet No. 1. By Yun, Qi Xiantian. Follow this emperor to the Demon Lord's base planet. Zhou Zhou sent a voice transmission. Yes, Your Majesty. 4 respectful voices came from all directions of the Blazing Sun Base Planet No. 1. Then, Bai Yun and Qi Xiantian immediately flew over and arrived beside Zhou Fight. They went to the Demon Lord base planet through the teleportation array of the base with Zhou Zhang at the same time that Kai's died, behind the ultimate void battleground, in an incomparably huge heaven ascension holy temple that was completely dark silver and reflected the illusory images of the myriad worlds on the surface. The powerful life form, wearing dark silver armor and a dark silver holy crown on its head, had 3 eyes and 6 hands. Each of its hands held a completely different willpower holy artifact. It was sitting on the highest holy seat and resting with its eyes closed. Below him were more than 2,000 ultimate void supreme gods. Each of them emitted a powerful supreme god aura, and each supreme god had at least 1 or 2 supreme divine artifacts. Some of the top ultimate void supreme gods who were at the front and powerful were even wearing a full set of supreme divine artifacts. When any god spirit saw this scene, they would be dumbfounded and exclaim that the other party was wealthy. With so many supreme divine artifacts, even the Supreme Will could not take them out in a short period of time. At this moment, there was a click. All the ultimate void supreme gods were stunned for a moment before looking up at the ceiling of the dark silver sky reaching Holy Temple. The ceiling was made of dark silver tiles that looked like mirrors on the surface of every tile. the figure and appearance of an ultimate void supreme god were vaguely revealed, and at this moment, one of the tiles suddenly made a cracking sound. Then, cracks appeared on the surface of this tile, and finally, splash. This tile completely shattered into powder and landed in front of all the ultimate void supreme gods. The illusory divine shadow in the tile naturally dissipated and disappeared. The 2,000 supreme gods looked at the floating powder solemnly. Many ultimate void supreme gods looked angry and murderous at this moment. The powerful life form sitting high on the holy throne and resting with his eyes closed spoke slowly. Looks like our companion, Kai's, has already died. And the one who killed Kai's was a powerhouse from the Supreme Wolf faction. This is the first ultimate void supreme god to die in our ultimate void race in 1,000 years. Interesting. Something must have happened to the Supreme. Well, otherwise, it would be impossible to kill Kai's, who is protected by Kai's city. Rhoda, the powerful life form spoke. My lord. A grade 4 ultimate void supreme god that looked like a bat with dark purple eyes and a pale face stood out from the 2,000 supreme gods. His position was very close to the front, close to a powerful life form. It could be seen how powerful he was, he said respectfully to this powerful life form. And since he addressed him as my lord, this powerful life form was naturally the most powerful and supreme ultimate void race's Di Huang. The Void Emperor, go. Investigate. After you get the results, tell me the reason why Kai's was killed immediately. The Void Emperor said. Yes, my lord. Rhoda said respectfully. The Void Emperor nodded. He still didn't open his eyes, looking like he was sleeping. On the other hand, this grade 4 ultimate void supreme god Rhoda did not dare to slack off at all. He immediately passed the supreme gods and left the temple to carry out the mission given to him by the Void Emperor, an unknown expert from the Supreme Will's camp. Your death is near. Rhoda's deep voice echoed in the void for a long time. On the other side, Zhou Fight and the others had already teleported to the Demon Lord base planet. Zhou Fight and the other two saw a Lord of 10,000 evils and the god spirits under him standing neatly outside the teleportation array, waiting for them as soon as they returned. After they walked out of the spatial teleportation array, they saw a Lord of 10,000 evils walk over and laugh. Welcome back, our hero. Let's go have a drink. At the same time, I'll congratulate you for taking down Kai's city and obtaining your first war base. I want to go to the Supreme God Realm Monument first. Zhou Fight shook his head. The Lord of 10,000 evils was stunned before. He smiled. That's true. I just want a battle. It's time to exchange for something good. Then you guys can go first. I'll wait for you guys in the Taotai Demon Palace with the other god spirits. Don't break your promise. The Lord of 10,000 evils smiled kindly. Sure. Zhou Fight nodded. He happened to have some things that he wanted to understand from Lord of 10,000 evils. The Supreme God Realm Monument was already empty when Zhou Fight arrived. The power of Zhou Fights will spread out and covered the god spirits further away. Only then did he know why there was no one around. It turned out that Lord of 10,000 evils knew that he was going to use the Supreme God Realm Monument. So he simply cleared the surroundings of the Supreme God Realm Monument so that Zhou Fight could enjoy it alone to exchange for the divine items inside. Zhou Fight clicked his tongue but did not say anything. Even though people who enjoyed privileges would be envied and jealous, that was because such privileges did not fall on them. When privileges fell on them, who would hate privileges? Coincidentally, I don't want other god spirits to see what the divine item I want to exchange for is. Zhou Fight muttered to himself. Then, he placed his hand on the Supreme God Realm Monument. Soon, a vast amount of treasure information surged into Zhou Fight's mind from the Supreme God Realm Monument. From special treasures to divine artifacts of various levels, to low-tier deity-level elementary grade divine artifacts, to grade 4. Supreme God divine artifacts. There was everything. Apart from that, there were racial divine artifacts. Zhou Fight opened the racial divine artifact interface and scrolled down. Soon, he found the target of his trip, race artifact, Holy Fate Umbrella, advanced race artifact hide, and protect the fate of oneself and subordinates, prevent being spied on and cursed by other gods, ignore any form of instant death effect. Even the supreme god cannot harm the owner of the Holy Fate umbrella and subordinates through the law of fate. Military merit required for redemption. 6 million military merit points. 3 Master God tier mission medals. When Zhou Fight saw this racial divine artifact, the corners of his lips curled up slightly. Then, he did not hesitate to exchange all his military merits and mission medals for this racial divine artifact. In the next second, the Holy Fate umbrella appeared out of thin air in front of him. Zhou Fight stretched out his hands and took the Holy Fate umbrella. He looked at this high-level racial divine artifact with a burning gaze. Then, he took a look at his military merit information. As expected, he realized that the 6 million military merits and the 3 Supreme God mission medals he had just obtained had all returned to 0. However, Zhou Fight did not feel that it was a pity. This was because this race divine artifact was extremely important to him. I don't have to worry anymore that the death of my avatar will involve my main body with the protection of this racial divine artifact. Zhou Fight looked at the Holy Fate umbrella and thought, after experiencing the assassination of the Scarlet Supreme God Shadow Lord last time, his main body had been thinking about what to do if he encountered such an enemy who killed his clone but could implicate his main body's death again. Zhou Zhou now had as many as 10 clones. The main body did not want anything to happen to one of the avatars, causing the main body to die with the other 9 avatars. That would be the opposite of his original intention of creating a clone. And now, the appearance of the Holy Fate umbrella perfectly resolved this problem. With this Holy Fate umbrella, the main body won't have to be afraid of attacks below the willpower level. It can hurt the main body and other clones. Even if one of our avatars accidentally dies, the other avatars and main body will be fine. Zhou Fight nodded. As for an attack at the level of will above the Supreme God, if such an existence really attacked the main body, they would not even need to attack. They would probably be able to easily kill the main body and all their clones. With a glance, if he really encountered an enemy of that level, he did not need to think about how to protect himself at all. He could just lie down and die. Therefore, his main body had not thought about this at all, and he stopped thinking about it. Zhou Fight directly put this high-level racial divine artifact into the first treasure vault and left it for his main body to use. As long as their main bodies relied on the Holy Fate umbrella and nothing happened to them, their clones would die. Their main bodies could use their origin power to easily revive them, so they did not need this racial divine artifact. After exchanging for the racial divine artifact, Zhou Fight looked at the divine item in the Supreme God Realm Monument for a while longer. Then, he looked at the mission for a while before reluctantly closing the information page of the Supreme God Realm Monument. There were many good things on the Supreme God Realm Monument, especially the race divine artifacts. He had been in the High Continent for so long, but he had never seen so many race divine artifacts. Unfortunately, he didn't have any military merits or Supreme God mission medals. Otherwise, he really wanted to exchange for all the race divine artifacts in the Supreme God Realm Monument in one go. However, even though he lacked military merits and mission medals, Zhou Fight was not in a hurry to accept a new mission. This was because he had other things to do before that. He turned around and left the Supreme God Realm Monument, bringing Bai Yun and Qi Xintian to the gluttonous Demon Palace. They were welcomed into the Demon Palace by 2 teams of true God tier at the entrance of the hall. As soon as the 3 of them arrived at the Taotai Demon Palace, as soon as they entered the hall, Zhou Fight and the other 2 saw that the hall was already filled with more than 10,000 God spirits under Lord of 10,000 evils. Among these God spirits, the weakest was Master God tier advanced grade. The strongest was actually 5 Supreme Gods present. These 5 Supreme Gods were sitting at the highest point of the Taotai Demon Palace with Lord of 10,000 Evils. The Lord of 10,000 Evils was stunned. Then, he suddenly slapped his head and said, "I forgot about that. Here you go." He flipped his right hand and saw a dark purple scroll appear in his hand. This is the territorial map of the ultimate void battlefield. It records the distribution of all the factions and mystic realms in the ultimate void battlefield, including the distribution of the Scarlet factions. He can change in real time. If you want to know the location of the other factions, You can understand from this territorial map. Sai, I wanted to give it to you as soon as you arrived, but you accepted a mission to go to Kai's city the moment you arrived. I didn't even have time to give it to you. The Lord of 10,000. Evil shook his head and smiled. He had indeed not expected Zhou Fight to start a war with the ultimate void race as soon as he arrived. The Lord of 10,000 Evils thought that after the other party came, he would rest for at least a day or two and adapt to the environment before finding trouble with the ultimate void race. Zhou Fight did not think too much about it. He took the map of the battlefield and opened it. Soon, he discovered the garrison symbol of the Scarlet faction about 300 million light-years away from the Demon Lord's base planet. Zhou Fight was enlightened. He nodded slightly after watching for a while. 300 million light-years. This distance looked very far, but it was not far for the Supreme God. If they wanted support, the Supreme God could completely bring troops over directly. It would not take long at all. Moreover, this distance would allow both sides to have a good territory to develop themselves. How's the situation with the Crimson Overlord's faction? Zhou Fight asked. Hearing Zhou Fight's question, a cold smile appeared on Lord of 10,000 Evil's face. These forces of the Crimson Overlord did their best to cooperate with us in the beginning. But later on, when the situation became worse, the god spirits of the Crimson Overlord started to not do their best on the battlefield. Up until now, they no longer care about the outcome of this war. One reckoned that they will immediately leave this place and return to their Crimson Great Cosmos on the day the ultimate void battlefield falls. If the ultimate void battlefield falls, won't the ultimate void race also invade their Crimson Great Cosmos? Why is their attitude so negative? Zhou Fight asked. The Lord of 10,000 Evils was silent for a moment before saying, they are stronger than our Supreme Great Cosmos in terms of local defense because the Crimson Great Cosmos is filled with scarlet fog. So, they began to prepare for the local defense after they saw the poor results of our ultimate void battlefield. They are probably already prepared to fight the ultimate void race in the Crimson Great Cosmos. And we are not sufficiently prepared in this aspect. Therefore, they probably can't wait for us to lose to the ultimate void race and let the ultimate void race completely occupy the ultimate void battlefield. They will use this as a springboard to launch an invasion war against the two universes. Zhou Fight's expression turned slightly serious. In that case, wouldn't the ultimate void battlefield be the most important front for the Supreme Great Cosmos's external defense? Zhou Fight did not say anything and continued to look at the map of the battlefield in his hand. This battlefield map was divided into a total of 15 battlefield territories. These territories varied in size. At the same time, they were divided into 5 levels according to the size of the territory. They were Grade 1 Supreme God Battlefield Territory, Grade 2 Supreme God Battlefield Territory, Grade 3 Supreme God Battlefield Territory, Grade 4 Supreme God Battlefield Territory, and the highest level Sanctuary. Among them, there were 2 sacred domains, which were the Supreme Sacred Domain and the Void Sacred Domain. They were respectively controlled by Lord of 10,000 Evils and a Grade 4 Supreme God clone of the Void Emperor. There were a total of 2 Grade 4 Supreme God Battlefield Territories. There were also 2 Grade 3 Supreme God Realm Battlefield Territories. There were a total of 3 Grade 2 Supreme God Battlefield Territories. There were a total of 2 Grade 4 Supreme God Battlefield Territories. For example, Kai's city, which Zhou Fight had just occupied, was one of the cities in the Grade 1 Supreme God Battlefield Territory, Wanlong Territory. There were a total of 3 cities like this in the Myriad Dragon Domain. In other words, he would be able to reclaim 15% of the territory of the ultimate void battlefield as long as Zhou Fight occupied 2 more cities. That's not right. It's supposed to be 1.5 cities. Zhou Fight thought. This was because Savis was the city lord of Savis City, another city in the Wanlong territory. Zhou Fight had already taken down the city lord, Savis. Next, he only needed to deal with the other 2 Grade 1 Supreme Gods who were Vice City Lords. This was somewhat difficult for Zhou Fight and his army, but it was not very difficult. What's with these arcane realms? Zhou Fight pointed at the golden mystic realm symbols on the map and asked. There were more than 100 signs of these mystic realms in total. Even the smallest supreme god one long battlefield territory had 3 mystic realms. These mystic realm symbols are called void mystic realm symbols. They were specially created for us by the Supreme Will. He has placed a large number of divine artifacts. Race divine artifacts, God's spirit inheritances, military merits, mission medals, and other precious treasures in these void mystic realms. They're waiting for us to obtain them. The Supreme Will's original intention was to encourage us to take back these battlefield territories. However, we were too weak and could not take back these battlefield territories from the ultimate void race. Naturally, we could not obtain the treasures in these mystic realms.